today we're exposing the olive oil brands that millions of American families buy every single week without ever knowing what independent testing actually found inside those bottles. Most people grab the same one every time. The Italian name, the green label, maybe the same brand their parents used for decades. It never felt like something worth questioning. But a UC Davis study tested those exact bottles, the extra virgin olive oil sitting on American grocery shelves right now, and more than 70% of imported samples failed international purity standards. Not close calls, failed rancid oil. Oil cut with cheaper seed oils. Products carrying the extra virgin label without consistently meeting what that label legally requires. And the brands that failed aren't obscure. They're the most recognized names in the entire category. The ones in more American kitchens than any others. We're going through 12 of them today, starting with lower concern and building toward the most serious finding on this list. Then we'll cover 5 options that actually held up. The worst brand on this list is also the most trusted name in the category. That one is last. Let's start with number 12. Number 12. Carapelli. This is the in-between bottle. Not the cheapest thing on the shelf, not the premium stuff at a specialty store. It's priced just above Bertolli and Filippo Berio, and that small price gap does a lot of psychological work. If the cost's a little more, it must be doing something better, right? That logic makes sense. The testing doesn't support it. Independent olive oil testing studies have flagged Carapelli for failing extra virgin purity standards. The brand that positioned itself in the quality space between commodity and artisan doesn't publish the comprehensive independent testing that genuine artisan producers put out, and it doesn't have the volume transparency of the commodity brands either. There's simply nothing to publish. The shopper who paid a few extra dollars because the price gap felt like a quality signal was paying for positioning, not purity. That's not what most people think they're buying when they reach for the more expensive bottle. The gap between what you paid for and what you got is the whole story here, and it repeats itself across nearly every name ahead. Number 11. Store brand organic olive oils. Kroger's Simple Truth. Safeway O Organics, the house brand in the natural foods aisle with the green label and the organic seal. The one that feels like the grocery store already did the homework so you don't have to. The USDA organic certification is real, but here's exactly what it certifies. The farming, the trees, the agricultural practices applied to the olives before harvest. It says nothing about what happened to the oil after extraction. Organic olive oil can still be rancid. It can still be cut with other organic oils. The certification doesn't verify the chemical composition of the extracted oil, the peroxide value that signals oxidation, or the polyphenol content that separates genuine extra virgin from refined commodity product. None of these store brands publish comprehensive independent purity testing. The seal tells you how the olives were grown. It tells you nothing about what's actually in the bottle. Those are 2 completely different questions, and only one of them ever got answered before it reached your cart. Number 10. Great Value Olive Oil. The bottom shelf, the Walmart price, the bottle with nothing on the label that would make most people stop and ask questions. Great Value Olive Oil has no published purity testing, no third-party chemical composition certificate, no harvest date, no producer name, no sourcing region beyond what's legally required to clear customs. The commodity purchasing system that fills this bottle operates with no individual producer transparency and no published quality floor applied to the extra virgin claim on the label. Here's what matters if you're buying this for your health. The polyphenols and antioxidants that make extra virgin olive oil the foundation of Mediterranean diet research are not present in refined or adulterated oil. If that bottle isn't genuine extra virgin, the health benefit you're cooking with it to receive isn't being delivered. The calorie cost is identical. The health return is not. Pour a small amount on a spoon and taste it. If it's neutral, flat, or indistinguishable from a generic cooking oil, the polyphenols are absent, and that absence is the entire health story. The named brands on this list at least face reputational risk when testing exposes them. Great Value has no brand identity to protect through the quality investment that matters most when no one is watching. Number 9. Capitriti. This one is different from every other brand on this list. The others sold oil that didn't meet extra virgin standards. Capitriti sold oil that a U.S. federal court found contained no real olive oil at all. Gundelsheim Foods, the company behind Capitrini, had been selling bottles labeled 100% pure olive oil that were actually made from pomace oil. That's a byproduct extracted from olive pulp using chemical solvents. It's not recognized under any legitimate olive oil grade. It's not what anyone picking up a bottle labeled pure olive oil expects to be buying. The North American Olive Oil Association sued the company for label fraud. The court ordered a recall and relabeling of all Capitrini products with explicit language on the packaging, clarifying that they were not real olive oil. This wasn't a testing gap or a sourcing shortcut. It was a federal court finding that the product inside the bottle had nothing to do with what the label said. When olive oil is completely fake, you're not just missing the health benefits. You're paying full price for something that was never in the bottle to begin with. Number 8. Newman's Own. This one surprises people every single time. Newman's Own is one of the most trusted names in American food, founded by actor Paul Newman, with 100% of profits donated to charity. The entire brand is built around honesty, goodwill, and doing the right thing, which makes the olive oil results harder to explain. Independent lab testing found Newman's Own extra virgin olive oil failing to meet the extra virgin standard. It appeared on lists of mislabeled olive oils alongside brands with no charitable reputation or wholesome image to speak of. There have been no recalls and no lawsuits, but failing the purity test means consumers were likely paying extra virgin prices for oil that didn't consistently deliver extra virgin quality or nutrition. Here's the part worth sitting with. A brand's values and its quality control are two completely separate things. Newman's Own donates its profits to causes that genuinely help people. That part is real. But the olive oil supply chain operates independently of that mission, and independent testing found it came up short. A good cause on the label doesn't verify what's in the bottle. Certifications and testing results do. Number 7. Star Extra Virgin Olive Oil. Star doesn't rely on an Italian heritage story or a founding date. It holds its shelf position through something more durable than either of those things: familiarity. The households that buy Star buy it because it's always been there, it's always worked, and nobody ever gave them a reason to look closer. That loyalty runs particularly deep in Hispanic American households, where olive oil isn't a wellness trend. It's the primary cooking fat. It's been in the kitchen for generations. Questioning it never seemed necessary. Independent testing has found Star extra virgin samples failing purity standards. The same adulteration and rancidity findings that show up across the imported extra virgin category appear here too. No published third-party purity certification beyond standard import paperwork. No chemical composition certificate a consumer can actually check. Families cooking with Star multiple times a day, using it as the central fat across every meal, are exposed to that adulteration concern at a much higher daily volume than the occasional user. And a daily nutritional gap isn't abstract. It compounds across every meal, every day. The families who trust this bottle most are the ones with the least reason to question it. That's exactly the problem. Number 6. Mazola Pure Olive Oil. Before the concern here makes sense, there's one word on this label worth understanding, because it's doing more misleading work than anything else we've looked at so far. The word is pure. Read that in plain English on a fruit label and your brain fills in the meaning instantly. Clean, unadulterated, nothing added or removed, simple and honest. That's the natural reading. That is not what it means here. Under the International Olive Council's classification system, pure is not a quality claim. It's a grade designation for refined olive oil. Refined means the oil was processed with heat and chemical solvents to strip out defects, the kind of defects that would have disqualified it from extra virgin status in the first place. The problems weren't sourced away, they were chemically corrected. That refining process destroys the polyphenols, the antioxidants, the oleocanthal, the specific compounds that decades of Mediterranean health research connected to reduced cardiovascular disease risk, better cognitive function, and lower inflammatory markers. The health benefits you're buying olive oil to receive require the compounds that refining removes. Mazola Pure delivers the calories and fat of olive oil. It doesn't deliver the health profile. The label isn't technically lying. The industry uses pure in its narrow technical sense. The consumer reads it in plain English. The gap between those two readings is the product. If you've been reaching for this one because it sounded like the clean, honest option, that's exactly what the label was designed to make you think. If this is useful so far, a quick like helps this kind of research from Consumer Alert reach more people who are still cooking with these every day. Takes 1 second. Number 5. Pompeian, Baltimore, 1906. Italian immigrants who carried their olive oil knowledge across the Atlantic and built a cooperative, profits shared among growers, not extracted by a single owner. A brand that genuinely felt like it belonged to the people making the product. That founding story is honest. What the cooperative produces today under independent testing is a different conversation. Pompeian has been flagged across multiple independent olive oil testing studies for failing extra virgin standards. The same adulteration and rancidity findings that appear across the rest of this list appear here too. The cooperative model didn't produce a sourcing and quality verification program that independent testing consistently confirms meets the standard printed on the label. Here's the simplest test you can run at home. Pour a small amount onto a spoon and taste it. Real extra virgin has a grassy character, a slight bitterness, and a distinct peppery finish at the back of the throat. That pepper is the polyphenol content making itself known. If it tastes flat, neutral, or like a generic cooking oil, it either oxidized past its useful life or was never genuine extra virgin to begin with. The cooperative founding is honest. The oil inside has not consistently matched it. A brand built on community accountability never built the testing program that accountability was supposed to require. Number 4. Colavita. This is the recommendation brand. The one that ended up on cooking show sets and Italian cooking class supply lists. The one people chose not because of advertising, but because someone they actually trusted pointed them toward it. A chef, a food writer, a friend who took their olive oil seriously. Colavita's reputation was built on being more rigorous than the commodity brands without costing what the genuine artisan producers charge. The Italian heritage, the family story on the label, the slightly higher price that implied real sourcing accountability. Independent testing has found Colavita extra virgin samples failing purity standards in multiple studies. The quality distinction its positioning promised over the commodity brands below it isn't consistently supported by the chemical composition testing that genuine extra virgin is required to pass under international standards. Colavita has never published comprehensive independent chemical composition testing results for its extra virgin line. The family story is on the label. The documentation that would verify the oil inside matches that story is not. A brand positioned as the trustworthy step up from commodity oil appeared in the same failed category as the brands it was supposed to be better than. If someone recommended this to you as the reliable choice, that recommendation was built on the brand's positioning, not its purity results. And that's the part that makes this one sting a little more than the others, because the people who bought it were already trying to do the right thing. Number 3. Bertolli. The one with the heritage story. The bottle that feels like it came from somewhere real. A family, a tradition, a place that actually cared about olive oil. Lucca, Italy, a small shop. Olive oil, cheese, cured meats. One storefront in Tuscany that eventually grew into the most purchased olive oil brand in the world. That date and that story are on every bottle. And they do a lot of work before you even open it. Here's what the label leaves out. Bertolli has changed ownership multiple times. Today, it's held by a joint venture between two large food corporations. The 1865 founding belongs to a man who has been gone for over a century. The brand carrying his name and his date is now a corporate asset managed by a conglomerate making volume purchasing decisions across a global commodity supply chain. That's a long way from a family shop in Lucca. The UC Davis study identified Bertolli among the brands whose extra virgin samples failed to meet international purity standards, rancid, adulterated, not clearing the chemical composition requirements the extra virgin label legally requires. The trust built around this bottle across generations is real. Millions of families cooked with Bertolli for decades, but the product being sold under that trust today is not the product that earned it. The date on the label connects you to a story. It doesn't connect you to the oil. Number 2. Kirkland's Signature Italian Extra Virgin Olive Oil. The 3-liter jug. The Costco membership justification. The bulk purchase that felt like the smartest decision in the aisle because Kirkland means vetted, and more oil for less money means you came out ahead. That's the logic. And for most Kirkland products, It holds up, not this one. The UC Davis study included Kirkland's signature Italian extra virgin olive oil in its testing. The samples failed to meet extra virgin standards. The quality vetting the Kirkland label implies didn't extend to independent chemical composition verification for this specific product at the time of testing. 3 liters of adulterated or rancid oil is not a better deal than 1 liter of real extra virgin. It's 3 times the quantity of a product that isn't delivering what the label claims. The bold purchase multiplied the volume and multiplied the problem at exactly the same ratio. One distinction that matters before we move on. The Kirkland Organic Extra Virgin Olive Oil is a completely different product with a different sourcing standard. It has performed better in independent testing. The product on this list is the non-organic Italian Extra Virgin specifically. If you shop at Costco, check the label before it goes in the cart. Look for the word organic. Look for the green USDA seal. If those aren't there, you're looking at the one that failed. More on the organic version in the best picks section. You thought you were getting the most olive oil for your money. What the UC Davis results say is that you were getting 3 liters of a product that didn't consistently meet the standard printed on the label. Number 1. Filippo Berio. The green bottle, the Italian name, the one that Italian-American families have been reaching for across generations without ever once asking whether what was inside matched what the outside promised. Filippo Berio is the best-selling imported olive oil in America. That name does an enormous amount of work before the bottle is even opened. It sounds like a person. It sounds like someone who attached their name to a product because they stood behind what was inside. It sounds like Italy, like Groves, like a family with generations of reputation at stake. The UC Davis study is the most rigorous independent olive oil testing ever conducted on products available in the American market. Filippo Berio was included. The extra virgin samples failed to meet international purity standards. The oil was found to be rancid, adulterated with cheaper refined oils, or both. Rancid means the oil has oxidized past the point where it contains the polyphenols and antioxidants that make extra virgin worth buying for your health in the first place. Adulterated means something that is not olive oil was blended into the bottle before it was sealed. Either condition disqualifies a product from the extra virgin label under international standards. Filippo Berio carried both findings. This is the bottle in more American kitchens than any other on this list. The one passed down through families. The one chosen specifically because Italian implied something better. A higher standard. Real accountability behind the name. The most trusted imported olive oil in America failed the purity test. Go look at the bottle on your counter right now. There's a real chance that's the one. 12 brands. The same problem cycling through nearly every one of them. Adulteration documented in UC Davis testing across the most recognized names in the American olive oil market. Rancid oil sold at extra virgin prices to families cooking with it daily for their health. A federal court case where the bottle contained no real olive oil at all. A charity brand that failed the same purity tests as the commodity brands. A cooperative founding story that never produced the verification program it implied. A brand positioned above the commodity tier that failed the same tests as the brands it cost more than. A warehouse bulk purchase that multiplied the problem at 3-liter scale. A single word, pure, used in its narrow technical sense to mislead every consumer reading it the natural way. Before we get to what actually passed, do one thing right now. Find whatever bottle is in your kitchen. Look for a harvest date. It should fall within the last 12 to 18 months. Look for a chemical composition certificate or a third-party purity seal. Look for a named producer and a named sourcing region. Count what you can't find. What's missing tells you more than what's there. Real extra virgin olive oil tastes like something. Grassy, slightly bitter, a distinct pepper finish at the back of the throat. That's the polyphenol content telling you the oil is alive and intact. Flat and neutral means it never was. Now, here are the 5 that actually held up. Best option number 5. California Olive Ranch. American grown, California harvested, pressed within hours of picking at the ranch's own facility. Not shipped across an ocean in conditions that accelerate oxidation before the bottle even reaches the shelf. California Olive Ranch prints a harvest date on every bottle, not a best by date telling you when the oil expires. A harvest date telling you when the olives were picked and the oil was made. Real extra virgin should be consumed within 18 to 24 months of harvest. That date is the only number that tells you whether the oil in your hand is still in its active window. The California Olive Oil Council seal requires independent laboratory testing, acidity levels, peroxide values, polyphenol content before any product earns it. No test, no seal, no shortcut around it. Available at Whole Foods, Target, Walmart, and mainstream grocery retailers nationally. For most people, it's already at the same store they shop at. This is the most accessible, genuinely verified extra virgin olive oil in America. And it's the natural starting point if you want to make a simple swap without changing where you shop. Best option number 4. Kirkland Signature Organic Extra Virgin Olive Oil. Same store as the Kirkland on the avoid list. Completely different product. This is not the Kirkland Italian Extra Virgin that failed UC Davis testing. The organic line uses a different sourcing standard and has performed better in independent testing. The USDA organic certification combined with the specific sourcing program behind this variety produces a result. The non-organic Italian extra virgin never consistently delivered. Before anything goes in the cart, look for the word organic and the green USDA seal on the label. If it's not there, you're looking at the product from the avoid list. Same store, same brand name, entirely different result. The label is the only thing standing between you and the wrong bottle. And now you know exactly what to look for. Best option number 3. Lucchini Italia Premium Select. Single source Italian extra virgin olive oil. Harvest date on every bottle. Chemical composition certificates available on request. The polyphenol content is disclosed. The acidity level is published. The peroxide value is tested and documented. These 3 numbers are precisely what defines genuine extra virgin olive oil under international standards. Lucchini publishes all 3. Not one brand on the avoid list does. For the home cook who specifically wants Italian-sourced oil, who has been buying Colavito or Filippo Berio because the Italian name implied an Italian standard, Lucchini is where the documentation and the origin actually share the same bottle. Available at Whole Foods and specialty grocery retailers. The premium here reflects the testing, not the marketing. If the Italian origin matters to you and you want the paperwork to back it up, this is the answer. Best option number 2, Brightland. Founded in 2018 specifically to address the purity gap the UC Davis study made impossible to ignore. Harvest date on every bottle. California sourced from a single named farm. Chemical composition testing results. Acidity, peroxide value, polyphenol count published on the Brightland website for every batch ever produced. The full documentation that the 12 brands on the avoid list have never collectively published is publicly available for every Brightland batch any consumer has ever purchased. Brightland is the only mainstream brand that publishes batch-level polyphenol data for consumer verification. If you cook with olive oil specifically for its polyphenol content and want confirmation that those polyphenols are actually present in the bottle you're using, there's currently no more transparent option in this category at this price point, available direct online and at Whole Foods nationally. If documentation matters to you as much as the oil itself, this is the brand that was built for exactly that. Best option number 1. Olio Verde. Single estate Sicilian extra virgin olive oil from the Planeta family estate in Menfi, Sicily. The Planeta family has been farming in Sicily for over 300 years. Olio Verde is produced from a single harvest at a single named estate. The harvest date is published. The chemical composition is fully documented. The polyphenol content is verified and disclosed on every bottle. This is the oil that the Filippo Berio label was always implying and never delivering. Italian single source, estate produced, verified at the chemical composition level. The price reflects sourcing integrity, not marketing budget. For anyone who has spent years paying premium prices for Italian olive oil under the assumption that a premium price meant someone was actually verifying what was inside, this is what that assumption was always supposed to buy. 12 brands that failed, 5 that didn't. UC Davis documented adulteration and rancidity across the most recognized names in the American olive oil market. Not obscure imports, the bottles that have been in American kitchens longer than most of us have been alive. A federal court finding that one brand contained no real olive oil whatsoever. A charity brand that failed the same purity tests as the commodity products. A cooperative with a genuinely honest founding story that never built the testing infrastructure the story implied. A bulk warehouse purchase that delivered the problem at 3-liter volume. A word deployed in its narrow technical sense to mislead every person reading it the natural way. A store seal that verified the farm and said nothing about what ended up in the bottle. You've been buying olive oil for your health. The label was written to make you feel confident about that decision. What was actually inside was a different story. Go look at the bottle in your kitchen right now. Harvest date, purity seal, named producer, named region. Count what's missing. Real extra virgin tastes like something. Grassy, a little bitter, a pepper finish at the back of the throat that tells you the polyphenols are there and the oil is alive. Flat and neutral means it was never any of those things. And you cooked with it every day believing you were doing something good for yourself. Now you know what to look for, and you know exactly which bottle to reach for instead. If this changed what's going in your cart next time, share it with one person who still has one of these 12 in their kitchen. They deserve to know.